This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 296.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have 4 or 5 events, maybe more. So we have WordCamp Kuala Lumpur, November 1st and 2nd. WordCamp Tokyo, also November 1st and 2nd. WordCamp Aukland, November 2nd and 3rd. And WordCamp Harare, I believe, November 2nd. And lastly, WordCamp US, the big WordCamp of the year here in the United States. It's in St. Louis this year. It's November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It's in St. Louis, Missouri. It'll be there this year and next year. I will be there. Very excited to going. The day that this episode drops, which will be the 28th of October. It's a couple days away. It's crazy. And I'll be on my way there. So on the Wednesday of this week. So also, there's an event that I want you to come to because I'm co-hosting it with my buddy Kyle from Get Options Podcast and our friend Joe Howard and Christy Chernos from the WPMRR Podcast. So it's coffee. The morning of Saturday the 2nd, the Starbucks at the hotel venue, the venue hotel, like the official hotel, the Marriott. There's a Starbucks there. You can go register, RSVP, please. We have a head count, getoptionspodcast.com/coffee. So I'd love to have you there. And just say, you're there because of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast or the Get Options podcast. We're doing a little friendly bet, not a bet, just like who gets more people, but it doesn't really matter. We just want you to be there, have a cup of coffee on us, and it'd be awesome to see you there. So I'm really looking forward to being there. Okay, moving on, segment 1 in the news, couple things here. Meetup.com introduced new RSVP fees for members, and this was kind of a lot of drama when this happened about 10 days ago. That'd be $2 per RSVP, and because WordPress has a heavy presence on Meetup, that's how we have our WordPress groups. Andrea Middleton confirmed that it does not affect the WordPress groups that are under the master umbrella. There's a link in the show notes. There were some conversations there on Twitter, I believe. Was it Twitter? Yes, it's on Twitter. So the WordPress groups are not affected by this. So, but keep in mind, if you're in other if you're in other meetups, they may start charging you $2, or they may start charging the leader of that event $2 per RSVP to help monetize more, or I'm not sure why. It's a money grab. I don't know exactly, but it does not affect the WordPress meetup groups that are under the umbrella of the master group. So that's one thing. Also in the news, Mark Davis has joined Automattic as their CFO. He is from Vivint, which is a $1 billion annual company. They did smart home technology in North America. So welcome to Mark Davies, Davies, not Davis, over at Automattic. Okay. Segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's show, it's all about following up. So oftentimes you need to follow up with a client, customer, lead, something. And how do you do it, and what are the ways to do it? Case in point, I've had 3 leads, I guess, warm, hot leads in the recent 4 to 6 weeks, and one was a client call that I did a lights audit and scope for. I haven't heard back. I can see that they've opened the proposal, because the service I use tells me when someone opens it. I haven't heard back. I sent a form. I created a whole new form. Remember, I did an episode about forms, what forms to have on your website. I created a whole new one for a current client, their maintenance client. They want to maybe revamp their site, so it's an onboarding inquiry. And I haven't heard back. And then I met with someone in person based on referral. I sent some links, some ideas, and some steps. She replied, more to follow, and then went dark. So it's been a while. So it's been about 4 or 5 weeks for all 3 of these. And the value of these projects isn't small. We're talking $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 in potential revenue. So what do you do if this happens to you? How do you reach out versus just like, hey, checking in email? Like, what's the best approach here? Or what is what are approaches to do this? So I was thinking about this, how long do you wait? Do you want to be persistent? Do you want to be annoying? I want to know one way or another. Yeah, a no is fine. Just let me know. So the talk today is really about, here are 5 ways to reach out versus just plain old checking in. If you want to touch base, but not to say, hey, I'm checking in. Okay. So there are 5 ways here. So one of them is this: describe a potential opportunity. So if by chance your day-to-day business that you're doing your day-to-day, going on and reading things online and blogs and podcasts, maybe you see an opportunity for their company. I don't reach out, let them know. Send them that link to that. Say, hey, here's an opportunity for you because I care. It's a way to just kind of get back in front of them in the top of the email list versus the bottom of the list or forgotten list, and with the headline checking in. That's number 1. Number 2, maybe send a how-to guide. Email them a longer how-to guide about something that you offered them anyways, and just put something together, and then maybe follow up with a phone call or a video if they need that, either a Zoom call or even a screen video. Like I do this all the time with ScreenFlow. I literally put these together for clients all the time because it's often much easier for people to follow along step by step in things in the WordPress space if they can hear me and see me doing it at the same time. Okay, so maybe send a how-to guide. Again, in your readings, if you find a relevant industry article, maybe share that. Say, thinking of you, found this relevant article to their industry. It's, again, better than saying just checking in. Okay. Number 4, not that many here. I mean, I'm sure there's many, many more ways, but this is what I kind of have thought about doing. Recommend an event. So if there's an event in your lead's area, in their industry or business connection, in their general vicinity of, where they're based, let them know about it. Maybe they don't know about it. Connect with them on that. If you're going to be there as well, and they're going to be there, might be a fantastic way to set up another meeting, a face-to-face. We have something coming up here in November, Internet Summit. That's what it's called. I really want to go. We'll see if I go to it or not. It's kind of expensive. Well, it's like $300, but we'll see. There are some great sponsors there. Some good companies are going to be there. Fantastic. So maybe it's a good place to meet someone there. And lastly, this is also really relevant these days. If there's a new law or regulation, so in the space of WordPress and privacy, GDPR comes to mind, as do other rules and regulations and affiliate marketing and disclaimers. So maybe inquiring if they're doing that type of thing, ask if they're aware of the new legislation, especially right after an election or the new year rolls around, because a lot of new laws kick in at that point. So again, here are the 5. Describe a potential opportunity, send a how-to guide, share a relevant industry article, recommend an event. Maybe you'll be there too. You can see them as well. Have lunch, have a drink, something, coffee, and make sure they're up to date on any new laws or regulations that may affect what they do as a business. Okay. All that said, there's an addendum to this. I want to add there is a time and place to say checking in does make sense. And I think the number 1 place to do that is if you have a scheduled call, Zoom or audio, phone call, whatever you want to call it, and they didn't show up, then you want to check in. Say, hey, checking in. We had a scheduled call. Is everything okay? Let's reschedule. So in that case, the standard checking in, touching base, pretty basic email works really well. And if you don't hear anything back on that, then picking up the phone, as old-fashioned as it may be, and making the phone call can also work. Okay. So, and lastly, update here. I did get a reply from one of those leads because I sent out information to all 3 of those ones I just mentioned earlier, and they wrote back within a day. They are working on a new business plan in greater detail, and they'll touch base with me once they figure out a bit more information on what their end is. And I'm really okay with that because now, I know. I don't have to wonder, did they ghost me? Are they going dark? What happened? And I approve this from them because they were scattered in their approach to the project, and they were working on a very compressed timeline with a very limited budget. So a couple of red flags were there. But now that they're taking a little bit more time and kind of setting back the calendar, I'm even more interested in working with them because, look, now they're taking the effort that goes into working on their business plan and budgeting in what it may cost to build the site. So there you have it. Hope that helps you out as far as checking in, following up, and providing value. Okay. Moving on, segment 3, the tip and tool of the week this week is, it's CodePen over at CodePen.io. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in the past. I might have. I don't think I have. It's by the same gentleman, Chris Collier, by CSS Tricks. Met him a few weeks ago at ATO, All Things Open Conference. It's a great place to go and try to start coding and learning how to code. It's free. There's a paid version as well if you're doing a team, but you can write HTML, CSS, JS. There's projects. Pretty darn cool. Check it out over at CodePen.io. All right. That is it this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email. I'm Adam at KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function of the website. If you want to support the show, you become a Patreon. Love that. If you want to sponsor the show, become a sponsor. It's a form on the website. Thanks so much for listening. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. See you next week. Bye-bye.